Leaning on its decades-long legacy of sports car manufacturing, Porsche imbues each of its vehicles, including the 2024 Cayenne, with a fun-to-drive nature that's hard for rivals to match. And while this 2024 model year isn't a clean sheet redesign, as its underlying structure and components carry over from its third generation, it's more than the usual mid-cycle refresh. On the other hand, if you are looking for a vehicle that combines off-road capability, luxury accommodations, and be a status symbol, but if your budget can't stretch to the big model, then the 2024 Range Rover Sport is an alternative that's nearly as satisfying. Despite its smaller dimensions, the Sport has a similar silhouette to the more expensive Range Rover, but with an added dose of attitude. And because it can be tricky to tell which one is better, in this video we'll compare both SUVs' designs inside and out, pricing, and how they drive. So, without any further ado, let's get into it. Exterior differences between the 2023 model and its replacements are slight, as is often the case with Porsche. The tweaked front fascia incorporates a new look with a reworked front with larger air intakes, more prominent fenders, and a subtle hood bulge. The front headlights have also been redesigned to emphasize the car's width. The side profile remains unchanged and is characterized by a sweeping roofline that slopes gently towards the rear, creating a coupe-like silhouette. Out back, thin, full-width LED stripes comprise the taillights, which have an exposed three-dimensional appearance for more visual interest. And the regular 2024 Cayenne moves the license plate from the hatch to a reshaped rear bumper that integrates exhaust outlets and diffuser elements, further emphasizing its sporty character. The Range Rover Sport is a staple in the company's SUV lineup. The prior generation enjoyed a 9-year run without actually aging, which is probably why the 2024 redesign looks pretty much the same. The new Sport's headlights are even slimmer than the previous models, but the overall shape is so similar that you would have to park them alongside each other to figure out what changed. The side profile remains the same with clean lines and subtle contours, emphasizing its refined yet rugged nature. The main change is the new power-operated flush door handles, which contribute to the slick looks and the slippery 0.29 coefficient of drag. At the rear, there are far less angles and sharp creases as you will find in the Porsche Cayenne, with slimmer LED taillights and an overall softer design giving it a more modern look. I honestly think it's hard to choose which one is better looking, and with both being pretty much identical inside, if I had to choose, I would probably go with the Cayenne. Jumping inside, if you've spent time in a Porsche Taycan, then you will feel right at home in the Cayenne. Nearly everything you see and touch is new, except the twin grab handles on the center console. The instrument panel is now all digital and includes 7 design options. That includes a traditional 5-gauge layout, but the information presented isn't further customizable. The new climate controls are clearly a response to complaints about Porsche's previous layouts. The new concept is a neat row of physical toggles bordered above and below by touch-sensitive icons, which makes it far easier to use without looking. It also does without the Taycan's ridiculous touchscreen-controlled air vents. One thing, however, is because they needed to make room for that neat array of climate controls on the center console, the old shift knob was removed in favor of the Taycan's dash-mounted toggle shifter. As for infotainment, the 12.3-inch touchscreen features the latest Porsche communication management system that's more colorful than the previous gen, with icons easier to differentiate at a glance. The screen in front of the passenger does all the same things that the center screen does, with the ability to watch streaming video content during a drive. As for Range Rover, the cabin is Scandinavian in its minimalism. Material quality is nothing less than exceptional, every surface looks and feels lovely, ambient lighting is quite nice, and the headliner is of exceptional quality. Fabrics are used tastefully on the door cards and seats, and you can also add open-pore wood in higher trim levels. Most of the controls are found within the quick-acting touchscreen, except for the climate settings, which are still thankfully controlled using dedicated knobs. When it comes to infotainment, you get a large 13.1-inch curved touchscreen and an even larger 13.7-inch screen parked in front of the driver to display the gauges. Land Rover's Pivi Pro interface is the company's best attempt at in-car infotainment yet, but it's not without its quirks. The displays are crisp and clear though, and it looks high-end, flowing in above the Range Rover's upholstered dashboard. Wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto connectivity are standard. As for passenger and cargo space, the 2024 Cayenne seats are soft with solid bolstering and plenty of space in every direction for the front passengers. Climb into the second row and you will be just as comfortable as the front, with plenty of head and legroom, plus you can get heated and ventilated seats too. The suspension provides a smooth ride without sacrificing body control. As for cargo space, it boasts a healthy 27.2 cubic feet. With all the seats down, you get 60.3 cubes. To the surprise of no one, the Range Rover Sport is a pretty comfortable SUV with a serene highway ride and more than enough room for 4 adults and their stuff. The front passengers enjoy a class-leading 40.3 inches of legroom up front. Jump into the back, and you find that rear passengers get considerably less legroom than those up front at 37.8 inches. Both rows are very comfortable, thanks in part to the air suspension with air springs and adaptive dampers. As for cargo space, it boasts a larger space than the Cayenne at 31.9 cubic feet. However, with all the seats down, it's smaller at just 53 cubes. When it comes to pricing, to get a 2024 Range Rover Sport, you will be paying a premium. The base SE model starts at $84,500, which is over $3,000 more than the base Cayenne. Next is Dynamic SE at $92,000 and the plug-in hybrid P550e Autobiography at $120,000. As for Porsche, the base Cayenne starts at $80,900 and comes standard with all-wheel drive, LED headlights and taillights, and 20-inch alloy wheels. The Cayenne e-Hybrid is $93,400, or if you want the most performance out of your Porsche, then the Cayenne S with its twin-turbo V8 is the one for you at $97,400. Now to the driving test. The Range Rover Sport is slick to drive, even in the lightly optioned SE trim. Under the hood, you will find a 355 horsepower variant of the electrically supercharged and turbocharged 3-liter inline-6 that appears in various other configurations. And while the straight-6 output is comparable to that of the Cayenne, the engine is incredibly smooth and refined. Touch the throttle at low RPM and the supercharger delivers instantaneous boost, ramping up the torque until the turbocharger kicks in. And while this engine is not the slowest, it just doesn't hustle the way you might expect it based on the Range Rover's rakish looks. It hits 60 miles per hour in 5.7 seconds and covers the quarter mile in 14.3 seconds at 96 miles per hour. It is a very comfy place to cover some miles. Get the 8-speed automatic settled down in a tall gear and the straight-6 snoozing at low RPM, and you could be convinced you are driving an electric vehicle. It's that smooth and that quiet. In fact, at 70 miles per hour, you will hear a mere 66 decibels of interior noise, which is virgin on luxury sedan levels of quietness. The standard air springs and adaptive dampers also further the impression of luxurious, untroubled heft, even with the 22-inch wheels. No matter how bad the surface, the Range Rover Sport paves the road ahead with confidence worthy of its reputation. As for Porsche, the best powertrain is the e-Hybrid model, which gets the updated V6 plus a more powerful electric motor for a total system output of 463 horsepower, up from 455. It hits 60 miles per hour in 4.7 seconds, which is a full second faster than the Range Rover at the same price. The bigger news, however, is the battery, which significantly expands from 17.9 kilowatt-hours up to 25.9. EPA electric-only range estimates are not available, but you can expect up to 40 miles on a full battery. That would be a massive improvement over the previous 17 miles. Either way, there is a new, more powerful 11 kilowatt AC charger on board, which can get the battery to full in 2.5 hours. Acceleration from the e-Hybrid is unsurprisingly quiet and smooth when driving using the all-electric range. Different hybrid power source combinations automatically pop up in the touchscreen when you operate the steering wheel rotary drive mode knob, including hold that saves battery charge for later in the drive, and charge that uses the engine to top up the battery. One thing to remember is that the e-Hybrid isn't just the eco choice. It may be a hair slow to 60 and lack that signature V8 growl, but it's absolutely a performance-oriented powertrain. It is a pleasure to push around on mountain roads with the electric motor eager to provide massive torque as the engine spools into action with a nice exhaust note. So, which one should you get? Well, I believe this is a really easy one. While the Range Rover Sport offers a very compelling luxurious package, the Cayenne is the winner since it somehow ends up beating it in just about every category, from exterior design, interior space and tech to even being cheaper to buy and run with its hybrid powertrain.